Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge headfirst into the fascinating worlds you want to explore. If you've ever been watching Demon Slayer and just got captivated by those battles, Tanjiro with the blue waves swirling, or like the fire slicing through demons, those amazing visuals are all tied to one thing: breathing styles. So our mission today is a real deep dive into Demon Slayer's breathing styles. We're going to unpack where they came from, look at all 14 known styles, 14, and then we'll actually try to rank them. Based on power, how versatile they are, how tough they are to use. We've pulled together a lot from the anime and manga sources for this. Get ready for some surprises. But first, fundamentally, what are these breathing styles? Why are they so important?
Right. So at their core, breathing styles are these specialized swordsmanship techniques. They're what the Demon Slayer core uses. They basically harness this incredibly focused way of breathing to massively boost, physical and mental power. And that's the key, right? That's what lets humans, who are obviously physically weaker, actually stand a chance against these supernatural demons with their crazy strength and healing. It's even hinted this breathing is tied to why their special Nichiren swords change color.
It's still kind of hard to wrap your head around, though. Just breathing lets you fight monsters. Is it purely physical, or is there something more going on, like mentally?
It's a really fascinating mix, actually. Mechanically, yeah, it's about specific, super concentrated breathing patterns. They dramatically increase lung capacity, flood the blood with oxygen. This hyperoxygenation is the physical key. It lets them reach their absolute peak speed, stamina, raw power, pushing them to levels where they can match or sometimes even beat a demon. But it's more than just fighting. These techniques are crucial for survival, too. Slayers use them to slow down poison in their system, or even, help clot really bad wounds faster. It's really about mastering your own body to an incredible degree.
Okay, so if these styles are that powerful, there must be some kind of, basic training everyone starts with. What's the foundation?
Yeah, you've hit on the absolute bedrock. It's called total concentration breathing. It's this state where slayers inhale the maximum possible oxygen using specific patterns. That unlocks their top physical and mental game. Now, most slayers, they can only really hit this state for, a big final attack. But the elite, the Hashira, they operate on a totally different level. They maintain an advanced state called total concentration, constant.
Which means, they're doing it all the time. Even when they're asleep.
Hold on, all the time, even asleep. That sounds almost impossible. I remember Tanjiro really struggling just to keep it up for 10 minutes against Rui. Oh, it's incredibly demanding.
Yeah.
And Tanjiro's struggle. That perfectly shows the massive gap in mastery. Compare that to a Hashira like Gyu Tomioka or even Kanao later on. They can blow into this specially made gourd, right? And make it explode just from their breath control. That just shows the kind of sustained, absolute mastery they have. Honestly, without mastering that basic breathing, demon slayers wouldn't stand a chance. They couldn't even begin to survive against these demons, let alone fight them. They'd just be completely overwhelmed.
Right, okay. So total concentration breathing is absolutely essential, non-negotiable. But for something so fundamental, where did it actually come from?
Yeah.
Let's trace it back. There's this legendary figure credited with creating all breathing styles.
Yeah.
Yoriichi Tsugikuni.
Yoriichi, wow, he was something else. A prodigy doesn't even cover it.
Right.
The sources call him basically a miracle. He was born with this just innate, unbelievable talent. Get this. At 7 years old, 0 training, he easily beat a seasoned sword instructor, just effortlessly. People literally thought he was like a miracle in human form. And here's something really key that sets him apart. Yoriichi was born with the Demon Slayer mark. That's huge, because other slayers had to nearly die to get it, and it usually meant they'd die by 25 because of the strain. Yoriichi just had it naturally his whole life. But his biggest feat, cornering Muzan Kibutsuji himself, he scared Muzan so badly that just mentioning Yoriichi's name or seeing his Hanafuda earrings made the demon tremble centuries later.
That's incredible. One person having that kind of impact. And he created sun breathing, right? The very first one, 500 years before Tanjiro's time. So that's the ancestor of all the others.
Exactly. Sun breathing is the original, the progenitor. Yoriichi tried teaching it to others, even his own twin brother, actually. But they just couldn't handle it. It was too complex, too demanding for pretty much anyone else. So instead of just letting them fail, he did something brilliant. He adapted sun breathing. He created, let's call them lesser versions, tailored specifically to each person's strengths and weaknesses. And that moment is what gave rise to the 5 fundamental breathing styles we know.
That makes so much sense. Trying to force one super complex style on everyone wouldn't work. So it was about adapting it to fit the person, not just sticking rigidly to the original.
Precisely. And what's really wild is how sun breathing itself survived all those centuries. It wasn't passed down openly as like a fighting technique. Instead, it got hidden, disguised within the Kamado family's traditional dance, the Hinokami Kagura, the dance of the fire god. Along with those distinctive Hanafuda earrings, this was all done specifically to hide it from Muzan. He and his followers hunted down and killed anyone who knew sun breathing explicitly, so it was hidden in plain sight, as a dance. A desperate way to keep it alive.
Wow. It is a dance. Okay, so Yoriichi's sun breathing is the trunk of the tree, and then it branched out into these fundamental styles. Our sources list 6. Flame, water, wind, stone, thunder, and moon.
Yep, those are the main branches. They form the core for most slayers. We can touch on the 5 main elemental ones quickly. Moon breathing is kind of its own special case we'll get to. So, flame breathing. Think powerful, single hits, like they're meant to just burn through whatever the demon throws up. It's very aggressive. Water breathing is all about flow. Flexibility, adaptability. It mimics water, right? Lots of fluid movements. Often seen as the easiest one for new recruits to pick up. Thunder breathing focuses massively on speed. Leg strength is key. It lets users move like lightning, blindingly fast. Stone breathing emphasizes sheer, terrifying strength. Users often have these heavy, kind of unusual weapons like flails or axes, and wind breathing. Super aggressive. Uses lots of swirling, rotating moves like a cyclone, designed for taking opponents down fast.
Okay, so those 5 are the main building blocks. But what I found really cool in the sources is how Slayers didn't just stop there. They took these basics and created totally unique styles, almost like their own personal signatures, How'd that work?
It really shows how creative and adaptable they had to be. Yeah, we see these personal creations. Slayers develop styles just for them based on their own unique bodies or fighting needs. Like, take love breathing. Mitsuri Kanroji made that. It comes from flame breathing originally, but it's totally built around her unique body. She's incredibly strong and flexible naturally, and her crazy whip-like sword. Honestly, it's probably impossible for anyone else to even use it properly.
That's a perfect example, yeah. Tailoring it completely to her physique.
Exactly. And then there's insect breathing. Shinobu Kakucho developed that one. It actually comes from flower breathing, which itself branched off water breathing. Shinobu, well, she didn't have the physical strength to actually cut off a demon's head, so her style is all about speed and injecting lethal wisteria poison with this special needle-like sword. It's a brilliant way to compensate, isn't it?
Oh, and you can't forget beast breathing. That's Inosuke Hashibira's invention. It's kind of rough, unrefined, but really powerful. Derived from wind breathing, it lets him use those 2 jagged swords and seriously amps up his senses. He has that spatial awareness thing, too. Right, spatial awareness. Sniffing out demons miles away.
Yeah.
It's just perfectly Inosuke. Wild, but useful.
Totally. And what's also neat is that some slayers even came up with new forms within the styles they already knew. Like right in the middle of a fight, Kyu Tomioka created the 11th form of water breathing, dead calm, pure defense. Zenitsu Agetsuma developed the 7th form of thunder breathing, flaming thunder god, way beyond what he was initially taught. And Muichiro Tokido made the 7th form of mist breathing, obscuring clouds, specifically to mess with enemies using shifting speeds. It just shows how they adapted under crazy pressure.
All right, this is it. The moment you've been waiting for. The power rankings. We dug through the sources, looked at battle wins, versatility, difficulty, all that stuff. We're starting from what the materials suggest is, let's say, lower on the power scale and building up to number 1. Ready?
Let's do it. Kicking things off at 14. Flower breathing. Used by Kanepocho and later Kanatsuyuri. It comes from water breathing. Focuses on grace, agility, enhances eyesight. But that final form, equinoctial vermilion eye, it risks blindness. It's elegant, sure, but we don't see a ton of it in major fights, so compared to others, it feels a bit underpowered in the sources.
High risk, maybe not always the highest reward then, in the grand scheme.
It seems that way. Okay, next, 13. Insect breathing. Shinobu Kocho's unique style. Remember, it's derived from flower breathing, so it's like 3 steps removed from sun breathing. Since Shinobu can't decapitate, it's all about injecting wisteria poison fast with that needle sword. But it only has 4 known forms, which kind of limits her options. Needs a very specific strategy.
Which really says a lot about her cleverness, though, finding a way around a physical limit.
Absolutely. Ingenious. Moving on, 12. Water breathing. Okay, one of the big 5 fundamental styles, from sun breathing.
Yeah.
Used by Tanjiro, Giyu, Urokodaki, lots of key figures. It's seen as the easiest to learn, super accessible, really versatile with its 10 forms plus Giyu's 11th, but it often lacks that raw, overwhelming power you see in other styles. It's like the reliable all-rounder. 11. Beast breathing. and Nosuke's invention, comes from wind breathing, technically. It's raw, wild, powerful, uses two swords, and it has those weird non-combat uses like spatial awareness for sensing things far away. Not subtle, but definitely effective and unpredictable.
Pure chaos, but it works for him. Perfectly Inosuke.
Totally. All right, number 10. Flame breathing, another fundamental style from sunbathing. Used by the Rengoku's Kyojuro and his father Shinjiro. Powerful, heavy-hitting single attacks, but maybe less versatile than water. It has 9 forms. Now, despite its obvious power, I mean, Rengoku was incredible, the sources do kind of note that its users have a rough record on screen, which pulls it down a bit in rankings focused on overall consistent success across different fight types.
Whoa, okay, rough record. That might ruffle some feathers. Rengoku felt so powerful. What makes the sources say that? Is it just adaptability issues?
It's less about the Slayers themselves, they're incredibly strong. It's more that the style itself, focusing on those big direct hits, might be less effective against demons with really tricky blood demon arts, where maybe more forms or evasive moves are needed. It's about the style's range, maybe. 9. Love breathing. Mitsuri Kanroji's creation, derived from flame. Elegant, super acrobatic, but it's designed completely around her unique body, that crazy strength and flexibility, and her whip sword, so functionally nobody else could probably learn it. 6 forms, all leveraging her specific gifts. 8. Serpent breathing. Obanai Iguro's style, derived from water breathing, mimics the snake's movements, slithering, coiling, uses that really distinct wavy blade, has 5 offensive forms. The 5th one is apparently strong enough to take out multiple demons at once. Very visually unique, fits the weapon perfectly.
Yeah, that wavy bleeded serpent breathing.
Yeah.
Such a departure visually.
Absolutely, and it works perfectly with the style. Okay, number 7, thunder breathing. Another fundamental one from sun breathing. Zenitsu, his master Jigoro, and later Kaigaku use it, all about mimicking lightning speed. Insanely fast movements. Zenitsu's mastery of just the first form, thunderclap and slash, and pushing it 6-fold, 8-fold, Godspeed makes him incredibly hard to counter just because of sheer speed. And Kaigaku, as a demon, even fused it with his blood demon art to literally shoot lightning. Terrifying upgrade. 6. Wind breathing, another fundamental, from Sun. Sanemi Shinizugawa is the main user we see. Very, very aggressive style. Uses those swirling, cyclone-like motions. Built for taking enemies down quickly. Has 9 forms, so it's actually pretty versatile for such an offensive style. 5. Sound breathing. Tengen Uzui's personal creation derived from thunder breathing, totally unique to him. Uses loud sounds, even bombs, to mess with the opponent's focus. And Tengen has that amazing ability to read enemy movements like a musical score, predicting attacks. He showed serious power against Upper Moon 6 Gyutaro.
That musical score idea is just brilliant. It's not just slashy moves, it's deep tactical awareness.
It really elevates it. Okay, getting near the top. 4. Mist breathing. Muichiro Tokido's style, derived from wind breathing. Mimics mist, obviously. Used to confuse and disorient enemies. Muichiro even used baggy clothes to hide his movements and created that 7th form, obscuring clouds, specifically to trick opponents with changing speeds. Super deceptive, super effective. 3. Stone breathing. One of the original 5 fundamentals from Sun, its only known user is Gyomei Himejima, who is widely considered the strongest Hashira, provides just terrifying physical strength, enough to let him go toe-to-toe with Upper Moon 1, Muzan's top demon. Uses that unique chained flail and axe, just pure, immense power.
Yeah, fighting Upper Moon 1, you just know stone breathing is devastating power.
No question. Now for the top 2. 2. Moon breathing. Used by Kokushibo, who used to be Michikatsu Tsugikuni, Yoriichi's twin brother. This is directly derived from sun breathing, but here's the kicker. He created and perfected it after becoming the upper rank 1 demon. It has 16 forms, the most of any style honed over literal centuries, and it uniquely mixes in Kokushibo's blood demon art, creating those devastating crescent-shaped energy slashes. It just flat out overpowers most other styles.
Wow, so the second most powerful style, created by a demon. Yoriichi's own brother. That's a really dark, ironic twist.
It really highlights the tragedy between them, doesn't it? And how power can be twisted. Which brings us to number 1. 1. Sun breathing, or Hinokami Kagura, the original, the strongest, the parent style of everything else. Used by Yoriichi, passed down through Tanjiro's family, it's incredibly flexible, not really rigid forms, allowing the user to move constantly without tiring, effective in basically any situation. It has 12 core forms, but Yoriichi perfected a secret 13th form, basically linking all 12 together seamlessly, specifically designed to destroy all of Muzan's 12 vital organs at once. It's the ultimate technique. The pinnacle.
What an incredible journey, seriously. From the origins through that whole family tree to the raw power rankings, all pulled straight from the sources you wanted us to dive into.
You know, what this really highlights something is that Demon Slayer isn't just cool fights. It's really about adaptation. Whether it's Shinobu finding a way around her lack of strength or Yoriichi customizing sun breathing, the core idea is turning limitations into strengths. That's so
That's a
deep.
powerful lesson, right?
Eh.
Not just for fighting demons, but for tackling problems anywhere. And there were some really surprising little details in there too, weren't there? Things even big fans might overlook, like those amazing visuals, the water, the flames. The sources are pretty clear. The breathing styles don't actually create elements. It's mostly visual flair for the user and us watching, with maybe rare exceptions like thunder breathing making actual sound or Kokushibo's moon breathing slashes being real energy things because of his demon art.
Yeah, that's a huge misconception, and the naming is always strict, right? Flame breathing, not fire breathing. Little details like that.
Yeah.
What's also kind of cool is thinking about how these styles didn't just vanish after the demons were gone. They apparently evolved into traditional dances, preserving the movements. And we saw how impressive it is when someone like Tanjiro can actually blend styles using water and sun breathing together to overcome his own limits. It's all about constant growth and innovation.
So, knowing that these styles are often built around a person's unique strengths, maybe even their weaknesses, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you were a demon slayer, what kind of breathing style might you come up with? Something reflecting your own abilities, your personality?
It's a fun thing to think about, yeah. Makes you consider how you adapt and innovate in your own life, in your own work, worth mulling over.